Yo, if this ain't that way, reels A, I feed them in your grip with the boom sauce beat and a real talk tip. Let's bounce, legend in the Awesometown where kangaroos poach and kings wear crowns. Well, lifestyle dash show, boom sauce, baby.
Well, you know we don't need him again. Once is enough.
He loves to keep coming back and trying to show himself more than once, that boy.
I wonder where he gets that.
Camera hog.
All right, let's get the party
I
started.
can never get enough of that kangaroo, actually.
All right, we're just gonna get this party started. Let's rock and roll. Let's get some people in. We've got more people. Awesome. We've got a full house today. Brilliant. Okay. Well, this is week 8 of our current Laptop Lifestyle Dads Academy round. I believe up to round 5. And we've got some really awesome conversations to have today. We've got Mr. Alexander Oxford here as our guest coach, and he's going to be talking about what personal breakthroughs really are and actually identifying what they really look like. Before we dive into that, I've just got a bit of an announcement here to share with you before we hand over. We're going to up-level this game. We're shifting the vibration. We're going at, right, so we're at level 100. We're going to level 101 and continue to climb. So I've been speaking to the team internally here for a few weeks now. And what we're doing here with the current Laptop Lifestyle Dads Academy is going to shift. We're actually going to turn this into a standalone product. What we've done over the last sort of 5 rounds has actually sort of helped us to perfect this and get it to where it is. So thank you very much for those early pioneers in that day to be able to help us build this out. So the great thing about it is you guys have got lifetime access to go through the different rounds of this, what we've done here with the Laptop Lifestyle Dads Academy, to go through it all. And what we're going to do is we're going to obviously bring something else in to fill the vacuum, and we're going to be something bigger and better. We're actually up leveling. So the Facebook group, this is the guys that are the first of hearing this. The Laptop Lifestyle Dads, AI and social selling Facebook group, where we've got about 2,500 members in there. That's getting a rebrand, and we're going to rebrand that to the Hero Makers community, where we're going to invite Alexander and other hero makers within this conversation in our circle of influence to create this as a collaborative project, where we're basically helping you on your leadership journey. I really feel like there's 3-track journey to you. We've got aspiring leaders. Aspiring leaders are those who are figuring stuff out. They're figuring out their weaknesses. They're figuring out their strengths. They're figuring out what their skills are. They're figuring out their sweet spot conversation. So that's an aspiring leader. A hero is someone who has that figured out. They've got some runs on the board. They're building up their credibility. They're building up their authority. So that's the hero level. But then the hero maker level is those who are helping others to multiply and duplicate and figure those things out for themselves as well. Alexander Oxford is one of the best I've come in this space when it comes to, neural NLP. There you go. Try and say that 10 times fast. I'll get Alexander to explain it. He could probably say the word. But talking about leadership and personal development and self-identification and self-worth and self-love type sort of conversations, right? So we're going to bring in other experts into this Hero Makers community. And there's going to be the free level. And then what we're actually going to do is invite all of you beautiful people who have been on this journey with us to come into more of a group style mastermind coaching call. So we've got our finger on the pulse, and we can serve to the need that's there and then on the spot. So we're looking at basically having 2 sides of the same coin. We've got mentoring, which is the guiding process and helping you to guide through that. And then we've got skill development. The coaching side of the conversation. So that's very much about skill development and personal development in that space. So we're going to take the course that we've done here, turn that into a standalone product. Our affiliates will be able to help us promote that. And then we're going to feed the Hero Makers community, and this will become the umbrella over everything that we're doing. So then the Laptop Lifestyle Dads, coaching business will be able to build out our standalone signature courses like Dave and I are building out at the moment, with our 30-day content marketing mastery. A little bit of a seed that we're planting. We're already planning the next product out, which is a funnel and automation product, teaching you how to make your own funnels, build out your email list, and teach you how to do custom GPTs and use Menace and other sort of advanced AI tools in that space. So we're going to be building on these products so they bolt onto each other and they support each other. And then this Hero Makers Mastermind group coaching will be able to facilitate where we're at with that, whether it be what we're doing with Laptop Lifestyle Dads, or even, we bring in awesome experts like Alexander Oxford, Amanda McCloy, Joseph McClendon, Michael Silvers, and a few others there to support that mastermind as well. So there'll be an entry-level mastermind, and then we've got our one-on-one mentoring, which is taking the handbrake off the conversation and giving you the full kit and caboodle. Anyway, I just wanted to paint the vision of where we're going, and where you can either choose to come with us for this wild ride, or you can hop off this crazy train. It's all up to you. But we're here to take this to the next few levels, and we'd love for you to come along with us if that's a good fit for you. If you have any conversations you need to have around that, you want to have a Q&A, we're an open book, let's have that conversation. But over to Alexander. Today we're going to talk about personal breakthroughs and identify what they really look like. And I would say you're in great hands with Alexander. So thank you very much for your time and your space. And let's dive in. Over to you, mate.
Thanks, Jeff. I really appreciate the opportunity of sharing what a personal breakthrough is. Look, we've all been through several personal breakthroughs in life. Well, I'm hoping we have. A personal breakthrough, if you've experienced when you've been in a situation where it's not just one thing's changed, not just if you've just experienced a solution to a problem, it's when everything has changed. Everything has changed in such a way that you can look back and you're thinking to yourself, how is it possible that I thought that way? Okay, who's ever been in that situation where the change was so profound that you cannot look back in the same way ever again? When you interact with people, your whole communication changes. Like the things that used to trigger you completely change. See, and when you look at your future, all those things that you used to think your future looked like don't look like that anymore. So what's happened is that your whole timeline has completely changed and transformed. That is a personal breakthrough. Now, if we have a look at that in the context of vibration and frequency, we have, this is a great theory that we've had a really deep conversation with. And the theory is that we have right now multiple dimensions in which our life can live in. Who's ever been in a situation? You think of a certain situation in the future or in your life, if I can be like this, and you interact with yourself in that way where you're completely changed, or in the negative as well. You can go to a negative space where you're thinking, what would my life would be like if I make this decision? Yeah. And you can see like a whole timeline change. And those timelines, every single possibility of your life exists right now. So the question is, which one are we choosing? Now, when we choose, what we're choosing is a different vibration of frequency. Everyone following me at the moment? And this is the big thing. So when we make a change from what to what, it's the whole frequency of our life that has to change, and not just one thing. Because when we're doing a little mini breakthrough, like I've got a problem, I need to find out how to pay a certain bill, and you come up with a solution, you haven't really changed your paradigm. You haven't really gone through a personal breakthrough. What you've done right there is just you've planned a certain goal. So that's not a breakthrough in itself. That's just changing the way we look at a certain problem. But a whole breakthrough is how you're choosing to run your life. That's when a true personal breakthrough has occurred. Now, in the last, I say, 27 years that I've been performing breakthroughs, I've seen the ones that worked and I've seen the ones that haven't worked so well. And the ones that haven't worked so well, they haven't really made the choice from the beginning that they needed the whole life to change. Does that make sense? Yeah. At any time, if you guys have any questions about any of this, it's really important to ask, because I'm here for you guys. Okay.
Yeah, this is interactive, so feel free to interact with Alexander.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I've found is that when we first start a personal breakthrough, we need to start from the beginning on really understanding the underlying theme of what your change is all about. What is it that you want to change? Why do you want to change? Is the change compelling enough that your whole life changes? And if your whole life doesn't change, what's stopping you? What's dragging you back? What is it in the old frequency that you still need to get, that when you got it will cause you to say, yes, I want to now vibrate in a completely different frequency of my life? But that's where I find that personal breakthroughs don't work, is when there's something in the old paradigm that the person just chooses to not let go of. And this is a big thing. Like, you've probably heard forgiveness. A lot of people would rather see somebody show somebody how much they've hurt them, and they stay in this old paradigm, then move to a new frequency. Because forgiveness is forgiving the whole timeline. It's not about that person. It's about the person that you were. Does that make sense? And that's a big, huge thing, because the person that we were was that frequency, was the vibration, and that's how we interact. And when we interact with people, we're going to be getting certain results.
I'd
So
love
when
to
you-
just jump in here if that's okay.
Yes, please.
Share a story to really reinforce this and also unpack that deeply. So as we all know, I went to Atlanta about 4 weeks ago now. Jeez, it's gone fast that month. And and on my way back, my mentor passed away. Malcolm Jamal Warner. And I'd been working very closely with him for the last 6 months in this space on our toxic traits and strengths and weaknesses and all of that sort of space. But he was just a guy who could command the room. He's just so much joy, brings so much love into the room. And with all of his accolades and all that, had no ego. And he lit up a flame inside me. And I know he'd done it for a lot of other people that he did around the world as well. And when that whole thing happened with him, him drowning, saving his daughter and all that, it's funny. Like, I've gone through the grief of it all, and I'm still grieving in my own way, but it's a different type of grief. It's focused on legacy. And I walked away from that event. I walked away from, like, the whole series of things that happened over that week were just sort of elevations of vibration, elevations of that conversation. Like, I've sort of gone from my head to my heart in a way, and operating at a higher vibration now, and realizing that high vibration brings in that high energy. High energy really brings in high income. And low vibration brings in low energy, and low energy brings in low conversation, income conversations. So to either be the thermostat or the thermometer in the room, it's really our choice. We get to choose our heart in that space, right? So I'm now clear as crystal. Like, it's not clear as mud, it's clear as crystal now. Just going through those circumstances in life, that's really helped to reinforce this, that these boundaries that we put around ourselves to make sure that we're no longer tolerating those low energy and low vibration conversations. But we do want to give space and compassion and empathy to be that for other people, to help to raise the vibration, raise the bar, right? To bring in that agency conversation. So it's like a flame has been, lit up, but it's been like also poured with gasoline over the top of it. And now it's just my flame plus your flame can go and equal, a wildfire together when we raise this type of vibration conversation. Is this what you're referring to? And you want to unpack that a little bit further?
Yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt, when we are vibrating at a certain level, the way we interact with people is going to be very, very different. Okay. When you're in that old paradigm and you want this new lifestyle, but you're still vibrating here, you're going to be looking at excuses and reasons why you're staying here. But when you're actually increasing your vibration, as you said, the conversations that you start, the conversations that are triggered in your environment are completely different, and actually rises even more. So when you have an environment where people are always looking for a higher vibration, you have interactions with that. Yes, it's like a wildfire.
It's so funny how the attraction of that and that magnetism of that really unpacks.
Absolutely.
The amount of doors that have opened up for us in the last 3 weeks, because of those higher vibration conversations, it's almost I hate to use the word manifestation because it's not manifestation. It's something deeper than that. It really is.
Absolutely.
I think that's the best way I can try to articulate it, because that's, my limited vocabulary.
No, I'm glad that you brought that up, because a lot of people say I'm manifesting and manifesting. It's about being. It's about ownership of frequency. Once you're owning the frequency, you're being, you're not manifesting, you're actually being. You don't have to wait for the manifestation. You just are. Thing is, the whole change of this whole thing is understanding that we are projecting from our unconscious mind. We are projecting all the things outside of us to show us and to give us the opportunities to change the vibration to match what we want. Because a lot of the times we have things that we haven't resolved. So as we go through the whole personal breakthrough, we want to unpack what's in that unconscious mind. All those little things that we have planted along the way have a certain vibration, and a lot of them come from that choice that we made even from when we were kids. That we make so many choices as kids, and then we're wrapped in an adult suit going through the same problems as kids, but we become so sophisticated in our excuses and our reasoning, is that we're thinking that we actually matured. But all we've done is become more sophisticated in those choices. So we need to own those choices, because that vibrates at a certain frequency. And no matter how much manifesting you do, no matter how much incantations and all those, no matter how much we do that, it's that underlying frequency that you're living.
Yeah. This is the difference between fake it till you make it versus be it and then become it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And to be it is like you know your outcome. You step into your outcome and you feel that outcome. Now you need to be in that space full time now to stay in that frequency. And if something's dragging you down, it's because the old paradigm hasn't been resolved. The old timeline that you created hasn't been resolved. And that's what a whole personal breakthrough is that any unresolved emotion, any belief that we have that's getting in the way, okay, or our conscious mind can have strongholds on its personal philosophy. It's like, no, I can't change this part of me, okay, because they're thinking and they've identified that this certain belief is who they are. And once we let go of that stronghold, it's like, hang on a second, I am far greater than a belief. And this is a big thing, because I've met so many people that have said to me, I don't believe in mindset power. I'm like, if you didn't believe it, would you have to have a belief about it?
Right. It's a little bit like atheism versus being a Christian.
It's like, if you didn't have that belief, how would that work? Having a belief in itself is your mind getting in the way, right?
Right.
So
Tara has a really great question here on this too, just to
please.
Yeah, so I put it as a sort of basic sort of example there. So like, it's my understanding of what you've just explained is this: if you're focusing on something, you're going to see more of that, as opposed to like if you're focusing on a negative issue in your life, you're going to see it more and more and more and more of it because you're focusing on that type of thing. In my example at the moment, I've had a massive shift in the way I show up in my personal life at home and things. And because I'm so focused on how I'm showing up in a positive light, it's made a huge difference already, and people are seeing it straight away.
Beautiful.
Yeah. That's awesome. And that's a big thing, massive thing. And that's the thing. Like Tony Robbins shows people all the time. I'm not sure if you've done his sort of example of look around your room and count how many red things there are. Just go ahead and count as many red things as you can find. Okay, and you're in that room.
Start seeing red everywhere.
What's that?
And then you start seeing red everywhere.
But then now close your eyes. Now don't open your eyes. Now how many blue things are there? Keep your eyes closed, right? Now open your eyes. How many blue things actually are there?
None.
Yeah. Because a lot of the times what happens is that we only pay attention to what we're paying attention to, right? The thing is, it's not just the consciousness of what we're paying attention to, it's the unconscious paradigm.
That's funny because now you've said that, like I just saw red things because I was focused on the red, but now you've shifted. I've got a blue water bottle here. I've got
Uh-huh.
I didn't see the blue.
Uh-huh. It's interesting because even when you closed your eyes, you couldn't remember seeing a blue bottle anywhere. Yeah.
It's right here. I've got a blue bottle right here.
Uh-huh.
Couldn't see it.
Yeah, it's like when you notice a car, then all of a sudden they're everywhere. So and that's the whole thing. So when our unconscious, when our paradigm shifts, we start seeing things in a completely different way. So that's where it starts with, I need to first focus on what is it that I truly want in my life. Like, how do I want my life to look at? I remember when Eric Rory said he was seeing 3 people in the back of his car that he was driving along with, and then years later, there they were. I think one of them was Jim Rohn, and another one was, I can't even remember who he was mentioning. There was just 3 of his mentors, and now he's driving them, and in the back of his car, and he's like, "This is the moment I was dreaming about." Things like that. It happens in the mind first because you need to raise your vibration first. But what a lot of times we say, when this happens, then my life will change. Okay, so that is now putting a limitation. You're not raising your vibration first. You're waiting for something to lift it for you.
So is that where you start to look at things like deja vu? Like,
Deja vu is an
I feel
interesting
like
one.
I've had some things like I've dreamt about them 5 or 6 years ago,
Yes,
really,
yes.
and then they've come to fruition and go, "Oh, hang on, I've been here before."
Yeah.
So
That's how I see deja vu. I see it that you have visualized it in a strong sense that you've been there, and then all of a sudden there it is. It's in your reality. That's how I see it anyway.
It's fascinating.
But so so going through a personal breakthrough before you even start to make a change, the question is changing from what to what. You need to be really, really specific on where you want to go, because the change that you make, I guarantee you'll find it, you'll get it, but you've got to make sure that you've gone into the direction that you actually truly, truly want. You want to lift the vibration, so you're in that frequency. And we've got multiple, like infinite possibilities of frequency that we want to attach to. See, and this is the whole secret thing, okay, and the whole manifestation that of choice. Okay, we've been given free will, but you need to make that choice. Which frequency do I want to be in? And then devote your life to it. And that's the big thing, is you need to devote your life to it, not say something like, we'll see what happens. Because when you're saying we see what happens, you're still coming from the old frequency. You're still coming from that old paradigm, because you have to see what happens first. Align with it, step into it, feel it every single moment. You need to be it from the beginning. And when you're being it from the beginning, you actually stepped into a brand new frequency. So now there is no excuses or reasons why you're interacting in a completely different way other than your new frequency. Okay, and that's when you've done a personal breakthrough. Now you've explored all the negative emotions, you've explored all those limiting beliefs that were getting in the way, any conflicts you've had. Like, so many people have conflicts of, I want to make a lot of money, but I don't think I've got the I don't know if I can handle the responsibility of it. Or I want to make a lot of money, but my upbringing says it's evil, okay, and so forth and so forth. So we have a lot of conflicts as well. So we need to vibrate in that frequency. You can't bring that static of other frequencies. Does that make sense? And it's no different to tuning a radio station. Okay, if I want to listen to 96.5, I can't listen to 104.7. Okay, I can't stay on 104.7 to listen to 96.5. It just won't happen.
Mm.
Okay, or let's go somewhere in between. You're never going to be on 96.5. Or we've got one of these things, right? And Bob Proctor showed this really well. He goes, if you want to communicate to a specific person, a specific part of the world, it's one frequency between your phone and their phone. It's a separate frequency that if you wanted to communicate to another person, it's on a different frequency.
Yeah, it's great looking at it.
There's so many frequencies, and these frequencies have always been there. It's not like they've never been there. They've always been there. We've just discovered them. But the frequency with us of going from where we are and where we want to be, or where we don't want to be to where we want to be, it's purely a choice of being in that frequency with no reasons, no excuses. If you have reasons and excuses, all they are limiting beliefs, unresolved emotions, or conflicts that you have that need to be resolved. Okay. When I say need to be resolved, if you truly want to live in that new frequency.
Well, this is the thing. We get to choose our hard, right? We can stay stuck where we are now and life's hard.
Yeah.
Or we can go do this internal work and do that hard, but it's going to have a lot more reward to it.
Yeah, exactly. Some people say choose your hard because it's going to be, look, it's hard work regardless. Okay, or it's going to require work, whether we choose that the work is hard or not. It's just work. Okay. When we say, oh, it's just hard work, well, I don't know if it is. How do you know if it's hard? And what are you comparing it to? So it's the work that we need to put in. And some people say, I may not be enough to be able to do that.
And this is a fascinating conversation because, like, when talking about reframing, things, right? And that's what you're essentially doing there, And for me, when I first started on this journey, I reflect back, 2010, I had to reframe the whole concept of failure. Failure, and for me, like, failure is just feedback now, and actually, I'm looking for ways to fail forward fast, right? If I'm not actually failing, I'm not actually pushing the boundaries hard enough, and
that's a bodybuilding principle right there, right?
Sorry,
it's a bodybuilding principle right there,
right?
If you're not training to failure, then you haven't pushed.
Yeah,
you haven't challenged yourself.
Yeah. So it's about, reframing the word failure, because for me, I grew up in an environment like you can't fail. You can't go do things, because if you do things, you'll fail, and that's just setting yourself up for failure, and you're going to blah, blah, blah. So that conditioning of the word failure was like, I had that expectations of, like, I can't fail at anything. I had to be perfect at everything, and it just set me up for failure. It's fascinating how we can unlearn it and then relearn it in the way, break it down and then build it back up in the way that we need to.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, it's breaking it down is a really interesting thing, because again, it's another bodybuilding analogy, is that when you're lifting things, you're breaking things down.
Yeah.
And then they grow stronger. Okay. And there's no different to the personal development muscle. Okay. You need to challenge it. And again, going back to, a lot of people will say, I'm not enough. I don't have enough resources to do that. Okay. The thing is, once you see that you are enough, the resources that you need right now is enough to get to the first step. Complete that step, then guess what? Some more resources you're going to find to get to the next step. So you may not have the resources right now for the completed task. Okay. But you need to get to that first step. After that first step, the next step is going to show itself, and then so forth and so forth. When we see that, we start having more and more faith that we can do things, because we're actually taking the right steps forward, and not just a leap into the abyss of the outcome. And this is where a lot of people do stop. And the only failure really there is when you quit on being the person that you want to become. And that's the only time you fail is when you quit. When you start seeing that really the first accomplishment that I have to make is that next step, and it can be so minute that you think it's insignificant to the bigger goal, but it's so vitally important, because it's those little bits that create that whole. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely, bro. So, Alexander, I'm not sure where you're going with this. If you've got any more to add to this conversation, or if we want to open it up to a mic, go around the room.
If anyone wants to have any questions, that's fine. But we're pretty much coming to the conclusion.
Cool. Well, let me know when you're ready to rock and roll, because what I'll do is I will go around the room, and I want to hear from each individual person's their key insight, what they're taking away with it, and give them opportunity to ask their questions if they have any. So, Renee May, we're going to put you on the hot seat first. No, you're shaking your head. So, over to you, Alexander, first.
think you like doing that to me, Jeff.
I like to challenge people. I like to help people to grow.
My remember this resume moment was when you were talking about leveling up in the frequencies and the use of tuning into the radio. Yes, that is, yeah. I've been a little bit staticky lately. I've come right.
Yes, it's the static that gets in the way. Yeah,
it's a good metaphor.
it is.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
Sorry, just got to. Okay, Daryl, if you're going to need to go, mate, you got to go. But thanks, man. We'll catch up later.
Thanks, Daryl.
Cool. So, yeah, Alex. Sorry, man, I didn't cut you off. I just wanted to pre-frame it just so we're on time. But is there anything else that you want to add to the conversation before we go around the room?
No, look, it's pretty much it. This is what I wanted to talk about today. Is that what really creates a personal breakthrough? It's not just creating a solution for a little problem. It's really rising your whole timeline. And the timeline is the way you look at your past and the way you look at your future. When you've totally changed and you've totally gone to a different frequency, the way you look at your past is very different. Like you start looking at, like you can revisit and you start seeing lessons that you could have learned. Where a lot of people, when they've got a lower vibration, all they see is the victimization of themselves. Then when someone rises really high, they say, well, it wasn't a victimization. It was actually valuable lessons to make me strong, to be in this position so I can have the great future that I can see. So the whole timeline changes. And that's the frequency, your whole frequency of your whole life from day zero, not just to now, but the day zero following into your future has completely changed. It's completely lit up. Does that make sense?
It's a beautiful reset and reframe. I love it.
Yeah.
So.
You're resetting to a new vibration. You're not setting to your default. You're setting to a new level.
Yeah. We're raising the lid. We're raising the bar. I love it.
Yeah.
So, Jeanette, what's been the big thing that spoke to your heart today? What was the light bulb, and what are you going to take away from this conversation?
Basically, that like the stuff, like the years of what I haven't done that I wanted to do, and I've got to get over it. Like, obviously, I've got stuff still to work on to get over. Like, I've always been a dreamer, but like it's realizing, I suppose, why all the years that I've just never finished anything, accomplished anything now, because I've always for a long time, since probably it's all started in the 90s when I sort of started with network marketing, that sort of thing. Why it hasn't, so what's holding me back, basically.
It's interesting that you brought that up, Jeanette, because we have been told that we're dreamers.
Okay?
But that's not necessarily a bad thing. Being a dreamer, if you actually embody that, all your unconscious mind is showing you is that this is a vibration that you want to be in. It's not a dream, it's a reality. So when you change the way you see that and you really grab hold of, this is not a dream, this is exactly what I want, then all those things that are stopping you, you truly align to that.
Yeah.
You're a realist, not a dreamer.
Yeah.
I love that, because a lot of what we keep, being told we think is our biggest weakness is actually our biggest strength.
Like an example of something that you can say the word manifest, I suppose. I don't know. Where I live now, many years ago, I used to come into this suburb and I used to think, I want to live in that estate. I really want to live in this estate I actually ended up living here. Like, it's not my own home. I rent it, but it happened, and it just it came out of a few years of actually driving past this estate and saying, I want to live here. I want to live here.
Yeah.
So
A friend of mine had a similar story that Mark Smith, when he was looking to buy his holiday home in Hawaii. He's basically not a millionaire yet. He's building up his income. But that went, a decade before they actually bought their house, and they went walking through the streets of where they bought their house now in Hawaii, and looking at all of the other millionaires' mansions and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And basically said, look, all right, we're going to buy a house here in this location, and they just kept visualizing that. They kept being that, and it took them 15 years, but they bought their $1 million house in Miami.
Yeah.
Hawaii.
Yeah.
See, time has no relevance here. It's not about time. It's about raising the frequency. It can happen immediately. It can happen when we say the ducks line up. It's when all those things that are in the way have been resolved. That's now you're totally aligning with this new reality, and that's when everything happens. You're totally with that frequency. Any static that gets in the way, we need to resolve. Okay.
It's interesting. I'm looking at the biblical truth of this conversation too, as a pastor, and the story of Joseph, coat of many colors comes to mind. And, he had to make sure he had the right character. Basically, God says you have to have the right character to be ready to receive the blessing in that conversation. And it's exactly what you're lining up with. Fascinating. Sarah, what's been the big insight for you? Thank you, Jeanette.
But it's changing that vibration first, but making sure that what you're picturing yourself wanting is really what you want, so that you're putting yourself where you really want to be, and that to get there you need to be willing to let go of some things, because otherwise it's just going to keep pulling you back. And that failing, there's no such thing. It's just your first adventure in learning. It's teaching you what you need to know, and everything changes depending on how you look at it.
Yeah, so true.
Awesome.
Fascinating.
Awesome.
Daryl, will go with you next, then Holly, and then Jade or Dave if you're on the call. Turn your camera on so I can pull you out if you want to. You're working in the background. So over to you, Daryl.
An example of what you've been talking about. I had one that sticks with me, and it's a few years before my daughter started school. It was a massive thing for me because I missed my first daughter's first day at school and things like that. It was massively important for me to be there for my now 10-year-old. And I had this vision, and I can only explain it as a vision, where I was literally walking her to school, and to the point with cracks in the concrete, certain car driving past and everything. And it made me stop in my tracks the day it happened, because I was just like, wow, I've seen this before and it's what I wanted, and I'm achieving it. And I think it's also what sort of triggered me to have a visualization, like a visualization board or whatever they call it. Because seeing those things and focusing on that, and then keeping that eye on the target, so to speak, but then working on the things that I need to let go of to get there, which is one of the things that I'm working through at the moment. Something that's always frustrated me my whole life is repeating myself. And as a carer of someone with Huntington's disease, that is something you cannot have. You need all the patience in the world. And it's something that my eldest daughter and even my in-laws have all said, like, you're a different person, because like we used to see you get instantly frustrated by repeating yourself. And now it's like water off a duck's back, because you're trying to show up the way you want to, and you've realized I can't hold on to that anymore. And yeah, there's still bits that I need to let go of, but I'm in a much better place and higher vibration than what I started.
That's so awesome. Thanks, Daryl, for sharing. Holly, like, you've been on this journey, working with Alexander for quite some time now, a very intimate space. But I love to just hear from someone who's done a lot of the work, in this breakthrough space. What has been the biggest benefit and outcome to your life with the work that you've done?
Wow. Yeah, I guess I've kind of been in this space since I met Alex, where he gave me my first breakthroughs. I hadn't really recognized how I broke through things in the course of my life prior to that. So that's one of the things, is the awakening, really understanding more about myself. And when I help others, it's being able to share that understanding and help them recognize that even if they haven't been through a formal breakthrough process with a coach, but getting them to see how they've had those breakthroughs in their life.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So guys, I left
Yeah.
open up that conversation here because it segues into this next part. If you want to reach out to Alexander and book in a discovery call with him, I'm sure he would open up his books for you. And I would highly recommend that you do that, because this is where we need to start looking at collaborative projects and leveraging expertise in fields that, I'm great at what I do, but Alexander's great at what he does. And when we can create that sort of collaborative partnership, my heart is to serve you. Renee, May, Jeanette, Sarah, Daryl, Jade, even Dave, in that space, to be able to help you get the best support that you need to unlock and in Holly's words, awaken. your zone of genius, your gifts, your strengths. Because I know that when we partner together in this capacity, this is how we start that hero makers conversation. I can't go impact a million people myself, but I know if I partner with the right people, we can go and impact a million people together, and we can go a lot further together. So I highly encourage you to, connect with Alexander on Facebook or however you want to do it. Maybe Alexander, you just want to drop your email in the chat there for everybody, and reach out to him and have a beautiful one-on-one with him. I've had the privilege and the blessing of having those conversations, and I wouldn't be bringing Alexander into this conversation, into this community, if I didn't think he was one of the best in the world at what he does.
Give you that one because that's breakthrough.
Typo.
Yeah. Make sure you speak right.
Yes.
So I highly
If I can,
reach out to Alexander and get that conversation set up, and where that goes from there, that's entirely up to you guys. I'm just connecting dots here. So
if I can add to that, Jeff. Yeah, so when you reach out to Alex and you're thinking about maybe getting this kind of assistance, it is so empowering. It's taking weight off your shoulders, which really is weight off your mind, and the changes get physical too. You feel the difference through your body. So it's something that I also help mentor with in conjunction, so that you feel really supported through the whole journey.
Glad you brought that up, Holly, because your body does suffer with the weight of your mind. A lot of people don't realize this because we don't get taught. We get taught that we need a special drug to get rid of the problems in our body. But a lot of the times it's the weight that we carry in our head that transcends and cascades into our body. Okay, so there's nothing in your body that's separate from anything else. And the mind is everywhere. It's in every single cell. So just remember that. Remember that.
absolutely brilliant. All right, guys. Well, that's a close. That's a wrap for this call. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Alexander, thank you very much, mate, for everything that you bring to the table. Thank you for the energy and raising the vibration around us to be able to facilitate that. I can already feel major shifts happening already. Guys, this is a wrap for this round. And as I said, we will be in touch with you regarding our future plans. All subscriptions that we've been having on auto subscribe and all that sort of thing, we're going to basically pause them at the end of this month. And we'll look, if you want to continue to, go on that journey with us over to the mastermind sort of call, and we can have those individual conversations. I'm probably going to look at sweetening the deal like I always do, and I'll come up with an offer around that to see what that looks like for our inner circle to move forward. But I'll work with the team before I announce any details. I won't throw anybody under the bus yet. So thank you very much for everything that you've done to help us to get to this part of our journey. Like, it wouldn't have happened without you. And we've now very clear on the role that we can play to be part of that Hero Makers conversation and how to support you on that journey. Hence the Hero Makers community that we're going to build around this, because that conversation would not have happened with, doing this conversation. And this is how we build on and we evolve and we level up and raise that vibration. So we'll be in touch, but thank you very much for your time, your energy and your efforts. Looking forward to, celebrating you along the journey when you, found your voice, and now looking at to elevate your voice and amplify it all. And the journey's not over. The journey's only just begun, really. And this is just us stepping up. So I just want to thank you from the bottom of our heart for blessing us the opportunity here to be the guides on your journey. All right, guys. Thanks for your time. Bye for now.
Thank you for having me on. Really appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye.